numb my mind with video games.
What do you,
Yay.
nice. Well, this one doesn't have to be long.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be as long as it is.
That's what she said?
I mean, I guess. In a way.
Welcome back to the Cool Comic Show. I am your host, Damien, and as always, I am joined by Galactic Mr. E, aka Mr. E, aka Easy E. And we are here to talk today about Young Justice Season 4, Episode 24, Zenith and Abyss. Now, before we start, I want to remind everybody that for the finale of this show, or season, finale is in 2 weeks. We are going to be doing an actual live reaction where we're going to sit here, we're going to watch the show or the episode together in real time, and you guys will see our immediate reaction to how things are going. So look forward to that in 2 weeks. After next week will be the second to last, and then the last week after that will be finale. But we're here to talk about episode 24, Zenith and Abyss. E, what did you think about this episode?
It was a great episode, and it just made me wonder what happened last week even more. Because we literally spent all of last week in Markovia just to come back and not mention Markovia. And then they were like, we need a mother box or a father box. And I'm like, oh, okay, they're gonna bring in Halo. Nope.
I thought the exact same thing.
So it was a great episode. Like I said, it just makes me know even less as to what was happening last week.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Orion coming back. I thought the opening scene was kind of cold-blooded. They didn't have to do Tomartu like that.
Yeah, that was that was kind of
wild. But it was great seeing the team and the House of Zod go head-to-head for the first time. I'm sure we'll get another fight within these last 2 episodes as well. It was great to see Megan back in play. Even though still between all of these teams, apparently nobody knows what's happening anywhere at all times because they stay trying to stop each other's plans. But yeah, I had a good time with this episode. I'm excited to see how it all comes to a head within these next 2 episodes as well.
Yeah, so I feel the same. One of the notes I had was similar to you of what happened last week. And we mentioned this in last week's episode where it feels like the second episode of all of these arcs has been a detour to something, and then we come right back, which I don't know. It's kind of a weird way to go about it. And we had all these questions last week, or why wasn't this earlier in the season and everything like that. But I really enjoyed this episode because we talked about this before. It was the whole team together. And one thing that I loved about the early seasons was they were all together and they were going on missions together. And even the quote unquote B plot of this episode was serving the main team, with McGann there, the Watchtower and stuff. So I really enjoyed it. I thought this is the direction we need to go to finish out this season. And then it got me started thinking, well, we only have 2 episodes left.
True.
So we could kind of just go into what's happening with this episode. I kind of wrote down brief notes, kind of in order of where the episode came in. So like you mentioned already, the episode starts where Lord Zod's going to Oa, which, shout out, Oa is pretty much a exact copy of the Watchtower over Earth, their prison area.
Yeah. It's just this is the Watchtower.
But in the first couple of minutes, I thought for some reason it was a flashback, and that was Tomar Ray he was talking to, and I was like, oh no, wait, that's not him. And then Kilowog was there, and I was confused. I was like, did Kilowog not recognize him? But then I was like, oh, Kilowog wasn't in that last fight. He was never there.
Yeah.
So
but I did note that as well. Kilowog definitely did suss him out, so I don't know if it's going to come back around. But it was interesting to see him just kind of squint at him and go on about his day.
He's like, "What you doing?" Well, there was a thing too, and I don't know if you would know this since you know more about Green Lantern stuff. They were scanning Lower Zod, and they were unknown, and then they were Daxamite. And I was like, did Green Lanterns not, do they not have a scan for Kryptonians? Or Because I know Daxam is like a
Um,
sister planet, right, of Krypton.
yeah, I don't know. You know, they have 1,000 ways to cloak each other.
That's true. Like
You
I
know,
assume
so I
Lorzod
don't
obviously
know.
like they just kind of cloaked it, but I was just like I'm curious. I
Yeah.
guess that means the Green Lanterns don't have a Kryptonian scan.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they would still have one since they do know Superman
Superman,
exists,
yeah,
even though technically he's the last one in this universe.
yeah,
I feel like they would still have that cataloged,
hmm
but you never know.
yeah.
It might
Um,
be something that comes back around later down the road.
Yeah. So the main thing with this episode, we spent a lot of time in the Phantom Zone, which we talked about last week. Of like we kind of just went there and then left. Like
We didn't even get there.
yeah,
They walked
um,
off the bus, and it was the end of the episode.
but the OG team, because you know how the Phantom Zone, you kind of like look like the negative version of yourself.
Mhm.
Um, the OG team looks sick. Like in the
Yeah.
Phantom Zone, Zatanna with her white hair, I was like, this is fucking dope. Um,
Yeah.
so my question was, they had like a mental link, like they were talking to each other, kind of how Zod did with his wife. Was that
Mhm.
like Zatanna doing that with her powers? Was that Rocket's belt? Like I didn't understand how they were
I
having that
think it's
mental link.
just a it's something that happens in the Phantom Zone because I think that was Zod was explaining to Superboy that they had that link within the Phantom Zone.
So
But
does
I'm
the
also,
team, do they have experience in the Phantom Zone, like knowing how to navigate it?
I mean, but they have experience talking to each other in their
That is
minds, you
true.
know?
Yeah, that's true. They are
So
very
who
close. That
knows?
makes sense.
But it could have been Zatanna because she still did have full control of her
Yeah, she
powers.
was because at one
Um,
point Nightwing was like, "Can you just zap us back to the bus?" Basically, like
mhm.
shout out to her. She got some sick moments in this one.
Yeah,
There was a
she really did.
this is kind of like I said, just random notes, but essentially the Phantom Zone is just, they're there and they meet Superboy and they fight whatever. There was a moment in that fight where she like told the guy to do a cartwheel and it just looked really funny, like when him flipping backwards. He was like, "Oh
He
shit!"
started floating off. Yeah, that was pretty funny. I very much enjoyed this fight, and I enjoyed their
Superboy's still
kind of call
snitching too,
outs.
but he's still
Superboy's a
snitching.
snitch forever and always. But I did like their call outs. Nightwing took control, and he was like
Yeah,
hand to hand, forget your
that
powers,
was
and
Calder, wasn't it?
uh, whichever one.
Yeah,
But like I just definitely enjoyed seeing them kind of,
to the
you know,
roots.
uh, go back to their roots. And it was just a good fight, and unfortunately, it didn't work out for them. Since the House of Zod has been training for a fight
They're
like
so
this
strong.
for God knows how long.
They're so strong.
They were just phasing in and out of rocks like there was no
Yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah, that was it was a good fight. The other big, we mentioned this briefly. The other big side of this episode was like the B plot where they bring Miss Martian to the Watchtower, let her know like, hey, Superboy might still be alive because Phantom Girl goes to Mars, the Prince of Mars. They go to the Phantom Zone, or they go to the Watchtower. They have the whole conversation. Shout out to Black Lightning getting his first lines of the season after being at the end of season 3 anointed the chairman of the Justice League.
Shout out to Lightning being in charge of the Justice League, and Superman's just like, I'm not telling you my secrets.
Yeah. Uh, but we did
So,
find out about the Kaiser Thrall in this
mhm.
section, who is a character named Danny Chase, which I had to look up. I didn't know. Apparently,
Is
Danny
that
Chase is a member of the
the
Teen
worst?
Titans. Did you know about Danny Chase before this or no?
Yes,
Did you?
he was in the new Teen Titans.
So what? I just looked
He
up. I saw
was
what I just only thing I know is what I saw, what I looked up. So what was like from your perspective, what he was like?
I did not care for him as a character, and I'm sure whatever you looked up kind of probably echoes my sentiment.
Mhm.
He was kind of a like in the comics, he was a dick. He was just
Okay.
there was just
Yeah,
no
it just
way
said it was a
around
Teen
it.
Titan person.
Yeah,
It's
he
been around
was
since
on
the
Teen.
80s. Jesus.
Yeah, he was in Teen Titans. He got killed off. Well, he got disappeared. He
Yeah.
got written out. Technically, sort of, he's still there as part of Phantasm in some runnings.
Is he like one of
But
those Weasley kind of teenagers and kind of thing?
he was just a dick. So like he thought he was better than everyone else on the team, and he was like his parents were spies, if I remember
Oh,
correctly.
okay.
So like this is around the time that Jason Todd died as well. He's
Yeah.
actually the one who told Nightwing he was supposed to be like friends with Jason Todd, but when Jason died, he
He
was just
told
kind of
him,
like he
yeah.
was just kind of like, he died. This is the thing that happens in our
Yeah,
in our line
it's
of business.
the way it's written. The way it's written here, I look it up on dc.fandom.com. It says, despite Danny seemingly considering Jason a friend, he acted callous about Jason's death, noting that the line of work is dangerous and that Jason knew that.
Yeah, basically. So like I can't tell you one person that liked any
Yeah.
chase. But I mean, I guess it was a cool callback to the Teen Titans. And
Hmm.
there was also like I don't know if this was intentional or I'm just like one of those people that makes things out of nothing. But when we do get to how's it Tumbas or whatever, the
Tumbus,
bus
something like that.
the
Yeah.
bus planet,
Bus
uh
Planet.
the Magic School Bus
Yeah.
planet. Um there's a rock formation that looks eerily similar to the Titans Tower in
Oh
the
really?
background.
Oh, I gotta go back and
Yeah,
look.
it was really cool. Like I said, it might not have been intentional. It's just some
I'm sure it
rocks,
was. Yeah.
but like I thought it was a nice callback,
Mhm.
especially having Denny Chase in this episode, and a closer look at the team in full effect. My head canon says it was
Yeah.
intentional.
I
You
mean, they
know.
killed him in they killed him in the same episode they introduced
Oh,
him.
he got
So
disappeared so
I'm sure
fast.
people were happy about it.
He was a lot better in the show
Yeah.
than he was in the
He was
comics.
more
Okay,
helpful, it seems,
he
based on
was
what you say.
very he was more helpful. He was kind.
Yeah.
Show Danny did not deserve what he got, but
That was pretty sad. Like
that's the
like
way
when
it
they were
goes.
telling Danny's story, I was like, "Fuck, this is sad." Like,
Oh, yeah,
Jesus. Um,
yeah, but it was cool to kind of that
yeah, it's
other
another comic
like
character. Like,
yeah, well, not only that, but it also like goes back to the show as well when we had the whole Runaways and everything.
yeah,
So it was kind of cool to see that mentioned again as well because we did get a glimpse of some of the Runaways in the other
hmm,
episode
yeah,
that you
a couple
mentioned.
episodes. The thing I like
Mm,
about Young Justice, this is just as the show as a whole, is there was I don't know if there was an interview or something, but at some point one of the showrunners said something about like that they were asked like how are you able to keep introducing new characters but they're still comic book characters or something like that. And the
mm,
showrunner said something along the lines of DC Universe is this big, expansive, like crazy world. He's like, why should I create new characters if we already have a huge list to pull from? Because a lot of not
mm,
only just DC shows, but Marvel shows and comic book shows in general will create a new character just for the show.
mm.
And so, like, I think there was a lot of speculation with the Kaiser throw off, like, is this just going to be some random character that was created for the show? Is this going to be a random person? But they were still able to pull from the comics.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking of the Kaiser throw, so the moment when I was watching this part, I was like, what does E think about this? When Forager was explaining Kaiser Thrall's backstory, but as Forager, so it was like a lot of proper nouns. I was like,
I was
this is a lot to follow. If you're,
having a bad day, dog. I was like, please.
um,
There was one part where Forager said something about Forager, and I did give the slightest of chuckles. I can't remember for the life of me
was
what
it
the
like, oh,
Forager said.
looking forward to meeting Forager or seeing Forager or something like that?
No, but I think it was in that same scene. I'll
Mm,
have to go back and watch it again. But
yeah.
it's the only time that I was brought some sort of joy from this character.
um, jump.
Also, shout out to Orion and trying to get Rocket to join the team.
Yeah, I thought the same thing when we mentioned earlier. I was like, because they're like, oh, we need a boom tube. I was like, oh, this is where Violet
Yeah.
comes in. But then Orion's like, though he walks in holding it like a pizza too.
uh,
Yeah, but you try to use
I
Rocket
do
and she was
love that we
gone.
got to see more of Orion.
Yeah, I love Orion.
But I just what was last week?
It
Like you
was
had the perfect setup to bring Halo into the
yeah,
main plot, and they were just like,
nope,
"Nah, here comes Orion."
nope. But jumping back to the Phantom Zone, there was a moment because obviously they're there. Superboy's getting his memories back.
Mm,
There was a moment where we actually see the scene where they took the picture from the day Roy joined the league. Because there is that episode where he joins it. We see them wearing those clothes, but we never see them take the
mm,
picture, and we see the picture referenced over the
yeah.
years. So now we actually get to see that moment, and I was like, this is kind of
Mm.
this feels good, but also kind of sad because we don't have Roy, we don't have Wally. Like, but it was a
Yep.
cool moment just see the young lads again.
Yeah, it was really good, and going back to that, it makes me. I know it's probably not going to happen, but it makes me think that Wally is going to show up in
I
this episode or the next.
I think he will. At this
I
point, it's
feel
like
like they have been dropping so many hints
since
back
last
to the
season.
first season.
Yeah.
Like I just I don't see the show continuing without something referencing him again in some light, whether it's a final goodbye to the team or
Mm-hmm.
something, or if he's just back in action. Um, I feel like we have to see him before these two episodes are out.
Like if they see him in
Um,
the Phantom Zone,
yeah,
that'd
I
be
feel
cool.
like because the way the episode ended, the boom tube is still open.
Yeah.
We have Zod on one side, we have the team on the other, and the team is going to they're going to charge in, and they don't know who this boom tube is connected to.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like we're about to see a mess of just bodies flying, and
Yeah.
and Wally is
There's
just
a
going to
fight's gonna
zoom
kick
in.
off. Yeah.
There's this. I mean, it's
Ooh,
got
yeah,
to.
it's Wally like a big fight. The team's down. He zips out of the Phantom Zone. That'd be sick.
Yeah, that'd be pretty fun. We finally got to see the Zods in color as
Yeah.
well.
Yo,
Uh,
Zal looks fucking dope. He looks
yeah,
sick.
he really does. I was really cool about it. I was really happy about how they turned out, and I also like that we left on his face when he notices Lord Zod, and it's not a face of like, oh, this dude is on my side. It's
It
like,
was
who the
yeah.
heck are you?
It was
Because like
like
at this
yeah, I
point
noticed
in
that too.
time,
Yeah.
yeah, like at this point in time. Um, he's not born. They don't know that she's pregnant,
Hmm.
because like in the future, she was pregnant the whole time, but of course they didn't figure that out
Yeah.
until like
After.
he got they got released. But since they got released early, they don't have any of this news, and he's walking around calling him Mama and Papa.
Yeah.
And Zod is over there like, "Who are you?"
Yeah. So
Um,
we could speak jump to that of like Lorzad's role in this whole episode. He starts the episode off, obviously.
mm,
And then so throughout this whole thing, he's kind of like, you know, trying to figure out where they're all at, where they're going. And so Malafak fakes being one of the Legionnaires, calls Phantom Girl. They're like, yo, what up? Come through, open pad. And she tells him everything, like so quickly.
Yo,
And there
she
was,
was like, "Let me tell you, we're on the way here."
well, there was a moment too where even Superman, he kind of like hesitated for a second. He was kind of like,
Mhm.
like that's interesting. I think it was when Kid
Yeah,
Flash said like, oh, are Nightwing and Rocket on this mission too? And Superman was kind of like.
yeah, yeah.
So
I feel like she definitely just gave up everything way too fast, but also like she's been in a coma for like
yeah, she has no
18
reason not to
years.
believe them, because she doesn't
Yeah,
know about the other Martian and stuff. So
exactly. It was, it worked out
the
in Lorzad's favor.
yes, I was gonna say, speaking of Phantom Girl, so we get a little bit more with her. They're trying to jump back to the zone with McGann, and she overshoots it. We see her homeworld, which is a mess because it's in the
Mhm.
past. Then they jump back, um, and then ending this episode, they all go to Rhombus, whatever planet.
Bus Planet, yes.
Yeah, I gotta go back and see if that looks like Titan Tower, but it was. Now that you're mentioning it, I can feel this build up now. Like
Mhm.
as this episode is ending, the both holes open. You know, uh,
Ayo.
the Zods come through, but he tells a lot of his army to stay back. So the team is there
Mhm.
with his army. The
Yeah,
hole doesn't
just
close, and yeah, he has that look of like, who the fuck are you?
mhm.
And then it is confirmed that Superboy comes back and he feels all his injuries right away, and he just fall.
Oh.
Him and McGann just fall on the floor because they're, Kaiser Thrall dies, Danny
Best
dies, and
best reunion ever.
yeah, just that
Just
screenshot of
Big
them.
Od's on
Just
in pain and he just drops to the floor. But it is interesting since we're on this red
planet.
sun
Yeah,
planet. There we go.
Red Pizza Planet.
Red sun planet. And like you said, he felt all of his pain like instantly. He doesn't have the sun to heal him
Yeah,
up.
none of these Kryptonians are gonna have powers in this fight.
So it's like, is he just alive to die again, or like how do we solve this situation? I
Yeah,
mean, of course, maybe Halo comes and just booms them all out. Who knows?
Halo's new power is to create yellow radiation.
Honestly, at this point, who knows? I mean, they had to show this for a reason. I just need to
I
know
think
what the
they're.
reason
I
is.
honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Halo and Brion and all that season 3 stuff does not show up for the rest of the season. I would not be
Honestly,
surprised.
it's set up, and that's what like my mind is telling me as well, is it's just set up for season 5,
Yeah,
but we
which we
don't
don't
know if
have.
season 5 is
Yeah,
even coming yet. So why would you just put that in there?
yeah.
But I'm not a doctor, so like I can't tell you how to run anything.
Uh,
I just think last week was a weird choice.
Last week was really weird. I think if last week wasn't what it was, this
Mm,
arc would be like one of the best arcs so far. Because
yeah.
the first episode was lit. Like that first one was crazy. And we still enjoyed last week's episode, but it was like so much of a detour, like a pause on
Mm,
the story, like let's go over here.
exactly.
And I know, again, quick shout out to our comment section.
Mm,
Theo A. Vorster, he put some information in there. He was talking about how the showrunner of this show, kind of how they've done things over the years, and this is people's first time experiencing this showrunner running a show. Because we talked a lot last week about how storylines are handled, how
mm,
episodes are handled, and pacing and all that kind of stuff. So shout out to you guys in the comments. But yeah, it just, if last week wasn't what it was, this arc would be like, this shit is going crazy. The season is
yeah.
ending crazy. And that hard right just kind of threw us off, and we're back on track.
Mm,
I love this episode. I thought it was great, but it's like, man, what this arc could have been.
yeah.
But I
Yeah.
mean, we still have 2 episodes left, so we.
We do, and I can definitely agree to that. But yeah, this episode and the first episode of the arc, they have been outstanding.
Mm,
It's what we've been waiting for.
yeah,
This has been a long season,
they're all
especially with
together.
that
They're all
gap.
fighting together. It's
It's great, and I just can't wait to see what they do with the last 2 episodes.
Yeah. So wrapping up the episode here, uh, the after credits. I don't know if it was just a throwaway thing, but we have
Mm,
Clarion's cat on Warworld.
yeah.
So
Mm.
the light
You
hasn't
know,
really been that much of a presence after the first 2 arcs.
no.
It's
And we
mainly,
did get a lot of Clarion and Vandal in this season during Zatanna's arc.
yeah.
Um,
Even during Aqualad's arc when they talked about
True.
you know, Savage sinking, telling his son to sink Atlantis and stuff. But the light has kind of just been chilling, which,
Mm,
I mean, the light's been pretty prominent since season 1. And I guess this season, has kind of been more focused on Zod, but he spent most of
mm,
the entire season in the Phantom Zone. So there hasn't really been
true.
like that looming threat for the team. It's just kind of
Mm,
been these self-contained arcs. And I think when we look back on the season, if we do get a season 5 or if this episode gets canceled, whatever, I think,
mm,
I mean, there's been plenty of discussion on how season 3 was handled and everything like that. But I'm very curious to see how this season is going to be examined or reviewed as time goes on. Obviously people
mm,
have their immediate feelings in the moment, but I think as some time passes, I'd be very curious to see how people felt about them switching to this arc structure, but having the characters be so separate from each other until the very end, and
mm,
having like these off-putting pacing episodes. Like, I don't know. I think it'll be an interesting thing, especially if we do get more seasons and how they'll be compared. Because what my hope is, and you mentioned this earlier, if at the end of this big fight, if Wally comes out and saves them, we're all reunited, everyone's cool. My hope is season 5 is literally we go legitimately back to roots, and it's just all them running a team together, and they're just going on missions together. Because that's what I
mm.
loved about the first couple seasons of like, this is a team. They're going on stuff together, and you can
Yeah.
still do that even though they're adults. They can still handle adult things. You can tell these great stories, but they're superheroes at the same time. So,
You want to know what I want to see that won't happen?
oh, here we go. Forager dies.
Well, besides that, um,
Are you
so like,
Bugsist?
huh?
Are
I
you?
might be. I'm just gonna take a fly swatter. But no, what I like, because I feel like this would be a perfect setup. I know it's not gonna happen,
Mm,
but I feel like if Wally does return, this would be the perfect setup to just kind of take these characters and do sort of like a Titan spinoff. Like if they wanted to like
Ooh.
keep this Young Justice feel to it and still have all of these separate teams,
Hmm.
but then like have
Titans.
these characters in their own like their own show,
That'd be
which I mean the
interesting.
show is technically supposed to be
It's
their
that's
show,
the
but
thing, it's supposed to be their
there's
show, but it's
so
not
many
anymore.
there's so many hats in the air at this point. Just remove them. It won't happen because of course, you know, they can't be the Teen Titans because they're all grown and we already have a live action Titans
Yeah.
and we know how DC is about using
I mean,
characters and
hey,
other properties.
Warner
I
Brothers
mean, just
Discovery
look
might be
at
changing stuff.
huh?
I said Warner Brothers Discovery might be changing stuff. Who knows?
I mean, but you know what? I'm not gonna mention.
Gotham Knights, everyone's
We're
favorites.
not. No, we're not getting started. We're not getting started. Thank you
Who are
for.
those people? Who are those people? That's what I want to know. Who are they supposed
Thank
to
you for
be?
what. Thank you for watching. We're not. We're not getting started.
Who are those
We'll be
people?
here. We'll be here for an hour, dog.
But yes, thank you guys for watching.
I can't. I can't do it.
Don't forget, finale of the season, live Raw, gone wrong emotional reaction. Bring
Like,
bring your
what do
wife,
you
bring your
mean by
partners.
raw?
You'll find out. Bring the
Okay.
loop.
I think I'm busy.
I'm actually very excited for these last 2 episodes, though. It's
I'm a little afraid after that.
really quick. Expanding on your idea, I think a spinoff would be cool. We've talked about spinoffs off season, like a Green Lantern spinoff, a Justice League spinoff in this universe. What if maybe big brain time, right? If I'm David Discovery, right, and I'm making
Yes.
decisions about how to do this show.
Very clearly, the CEO of Discovery, yes.
You quote unquote cancel Young Justice, but you make a spin-off Titan show where it's just the OGs, right?
Mm,
You spin off a Justice League show, and then you spin off a
mm,
Green Lantern show. You have 3 animated properties for children that are outside of the Harley Quinn show that's for adults.
mm.
It can bolster your streaming whatever on HBO Max, and it gives you more creativity. I don't know if they're
Yeah,
gonna do that, but I don't know. You know, I'm not a TV producer. I'm just the
he's not a
C.
doctor.
I'm just the CEO of Discovery, but
Yes, yes, he's just David Discovery,
but
yes.
I said I would love a Justice League show in this universe,
I
but
would
its own
too,
thing.
and I feel like this show would be the perfect catalyst for a Young Justice or DC, whatever you want to call it, extended animated universe.
100%.
Because we have everyone there already.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Justice League, they haven't been as prominent this
They're
season,
just
but
hanging out.
they were very much felt within the earlier seasons.
Yeah.
We have the team, we have the outsiders, we have all of these amazing characters, and it's getting to the point that there's too many characters and not enough plot
Yeah.
to please everyone.
Yeah.
And I feel like the easiest way to go about that would just to be
Make their
like
own
spin
show.
them off into their own separate entities while still having overlapping plots
Mm-hmm.
in a sense, kind of like um, how they did with their CW shows,
Mm-hmm.
where every once in a while they'd have these
Crossovers.
crossover events.
And you
So
have more
that would be
control on HBO Max too,
yeah,
you know?
exactly, exactly. You know, it's wishful thinking. It'll probably never
Yeah,
happen, but
but
that's
we can't even get
that's
Harley Quinn season 3, like one of their most popular shows.
they. You know, they got the post-it notes of the animation, so
You know,
like
we we haven't
we're
got
on the right
we
track.
haven't got an announcement of DC fandom this year, and I think this time last year we got it. So
I mean, if they keep pace, it's gonna be in October, but like you said, we have had no word on it yet.
yeah,
We'll
we'll see.
see. I mean,
We
they probably will hold off the announcement in all seriousness
yeah,
with the merger just taking place
that's true.
and with their biggest title movies having so much like um bad press thrown at them.
Movies
Um
getting delayed again.
movies getting delayed again and again and
We got to see
again.
Blue Beetle at least. That was cool.
Yo, that
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 suit.
fit
If you
looked
haven't seen,
nice.
I'll put it up on screen. If you haven't seen that suit of Blue Beetle, it looks sick.
It looks nice.
When are we getting that
But
movie?
yeah, so
Who knows?
who knows? Probably before the Wonder Woman video game though. But um yeah, I think they're gonna hold off on a fandom announcement until the merger kind of settles down and they
Mm-hmm.
also figure out what they actually want to do with the DCEU, because I think they are going to have a lot of eyes on them,
Yeah,
especially during this fandom in particular.
because it's the
So
first
I
post
think
merger.
that's
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's why they haven't announced anything quite yet. And honestly, I don't blame them, because if they come to us like they did last year, announcing all of these things just for them to get delayed, I'm going to be hurt.
Hey, remember when it was Wonder Woman's 80th anniversary and they gave her
You
like a
know who
five
forgot? DC.
they gave her like a 5 minute panel, and then when I tried to go buy a Wonder Woman shirt, I got an error message that said riddle me this,
Riddle me this.
which I have again. I have the footage. I've already planned it out. I'm If DC Fandom gets released or announced this year, I'm gonna release that footage the week of DC Fandom. If it doesn't get announced, then I'll just put it out and I'll put it on this channel. Actually, E and I recorded ourselves watching DC Fandom last year, and it was a lot of up and downs. A
Yes,
lot of up and downs.
it was our first venture into recording.
What if we do?
Um,
What if we do us reacted to DC Fandom last year and to see how wrong everything was and nothing that came out?
Make it a drinking game. I'm in.
Every time something got delayed or canceled, just take a drink. Oh my god!
Yo, please.
But
Honestly, I'd be down. Let's go
that'd
for
be fun. Well, that was Young Justice season 4, episode 24. My favorite number, by the way.
Nice.
A lot of fun. Looking forward to these last 2 episodes. And I'm actually very curious what's going to happen after the season ends because we have no idea when Harley Quinn comes out. Um, there is no DC live action show that has a release date, right? We don't know when Doom Patrol season 4 is coming, or Titans, or
Nope.
Peacemaker season 2 for all you Peacemaker fans. There's not going to be a new
Actually,
DC team.
speaking of Peacemaker, so Vigilante actually maybe Danny Chase's uncle. I don't
You know
think it
what?
was ever actually
You know what? You say
confirmed.
that, and I saw this on here, and my brain didn't click until now. Yeah, it says trivia. He may be the nephew of Vigilante, aka Adrian Chase.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well,
I don't think it was ever actually confirmed, but a
implied.
nice little tidbit, you know?
But yeah, there's not going to be anything DC TV. I mean, of course, not including everyone's favorite Gotham Knights CW show, but there's not going to be any DC TV programming for a while.
Oh wow, yeah. Everything has either been delayed or there's been no news whatsoever. So
And what's the next movie, like in November? Like Black Adam got pushed or something like that? There's
unless it gets pushed again, I believe, yeah, Black Adam is in that time frame, and then Shazam should be December.
This
Um,
might be it for a while.
DC, the well is drying up, so we'll see what
Well,
happens.
get comfortable these next 2 weeks. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you
We'll
guys
be
like and
we'll be
subscribe.
making Marvel content.
We do. I do have some plans because let's just say we may be taking a vacation in June, but I do want to record another episode of the Cool Comics, the main show, before then. There's a lot of comic book stuff to talk about, like in comic books, like Dark
Mhm.
Crisis, the Axe event.
Oh yeah, summer is gearing up.
Yeah,
They're coming.
Pride event comes out in a couple weeks. Nubia and
Grr.
Nubia and the Amazons just has its first issue coming out in a couple weeks. There's a lot happening. So we'll
Mhm.
record an episode of that. But thank you guys for watching. Again, don't forget for the finale, we'll be doing a live Raw reaction. Bring your blankets and make sure you like
The
and
blankets.
subscribe. And we'll see you next week.
Okay, bye.
Okay, man.